The top stories tonight in Y News. The Department of Social Welfare and Development and the Office of the Civil Defense brace for Super Typhoon Mawar.
The Commission on Elections clarifies they will not pay the Impact Hub Manila's 15.3 billion pesos claim over the canceled Pilipinas Debate 2022 in last year's national and local elections.
A senior agriculture official reveals to senators that it was President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. himself who ordered to import sugar early this year.
And European privacy regulators slapped Facebook owner Meta with $1.3 billion fine over the transfer of European Union user data to the United States.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd of May, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am William Theo.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Harding Delgado.
First in the news. The Super Typhoon Mawar outside the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR is expected to intensify further in the following days. Government agencies and local government units that might be affected are now preparing. Ray Pelayo explains why.
Tropical Cyclone Mawar strengthened into Super Typhoon and is expected to enter the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR by Friday and be locally named Betty according to State Weather Bureau Pagasa. It may move closer to the country by weekend. Though this is less likely to make landfall, it may intensify the southwest monsoon.
Posibleng itong bagyo nga ang mag-trigger ng mga pag-ulan sa kanlurang bahagi ng ating bansa. And kung ma-meet nga yung criteria natin na 5 days sa dire-diretso pag-ulan sa ating mga stasyon sa western section, isang sign ito or isang possibility na or hudyat na mag-start na tayo ng rainy season.
The DSWD has already prepared the food packs needed for residents who might be affected, especially in regions 1 and 2.
So what we've done is we've augmented the stockpiling of food packs up north. Right now, ang average kasi nila will be at around 30 to 50,000 in those two regions independently of each other. Naka-preposition na yon, but we're doubling it up.
The Office of Civil Defense or OCD said that all of their personnel are prepared, especially those who are part of the rescue units. The agency advises the public to postpone their travel to avoid being stranded once the cyclone affects the country.
So kung may lakad kayo, mas maganda before pa lang, ngayon pa lang, lumakad na kayo or kung makapaghintay, palipasin muna na natin itong bagyo.
The OCD also reminds the public to be aware of their locations if they are in hazardous areas. Follow the instructions of local officials if evacuation is necessary. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development issued a cease and desist order against an orphanage in Quezon City over alleged violation of some existing laws. Nel Mribahok reports.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development has rescued 149 children from a private orphanage in Quezon City, which it shut down following a complaint that is allegedly violated the law against child abuse, exploitation, and discrimination.
We are supposed to take care and protect those that cannot protect themselves, especially children. So that's why we move for cease and desist, but giving them 20 days to answer our findings and also to fix whatever they need to fix.
DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian confirmed that the DSWD has issued a cease and desist order against Gentle Hands Incorporated, which he said is overpopulated and does not meet the department's safety and living standards.
One, the upkeep was not your most ideal. Nakakalat yung basura. 2, ventilation was an issue. Kasi ang nangyari dito, they overcapacitated the orphanage. It's a privately run orphanage. 80 lang ang rating niya, but they were running at 149 or 150 plus. 149 actually to be exact. So there, right there and there, maling-mali na yun eh. And the worst part of it all is we saw the fire exits and they were sealed or may mga grills, and that was not acceptable to us. That's a walking fire trap. So those are the 3 things.
Secretary Gatchalian, who visited the facility last Saturday, noted how the orphanage seemed to not have enough social workers or house parents. The DSWD has given Gentle Hands 20 days to answer the issues that the agency has raised against them. In an interview, the orphanage's executive director, Charity Graff, said they were not initially notified about the concerns raised by the agency. She also said they were not even asked by the agency about the fire concerns and insisted that they have fire certificate that is renewed every January. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice, or DOJ, believes they have still enough evidence over the killing of Negros Oriental Governor Roel de Gamo, despite the recantation of statements by some suspects in the crime. The DOJ added it would rather affect the credibility of the suspects after they changed their previous statements. 4 suspects, such as Osmundo Rivero, said in their counter affidavit that they were not given proper legal counsel during the investigation, but rather obey to what the authorities will ask them.
Yung pagre-recant na to also affects yung credibility ng mga tao. Hindi kasi pwedeng pabago-bago yung sasabihin mo na sabihin mo sa unang kwento mo, ganito ang nangyari, pagkatapos babawiin mo sa oras na ikaw ay magkaroon na ng abogado. Yan.
Meanwhile, attorney Ferdinand Topacio, Teves's legal counsel, said the recantation of some suspects proves they were threatened by the authorities.
Talagang may pananakot, panunuhol, may subornation of perjury, may witness tampering dito sa kasong ito para ituro si Congressman Teves. Kaya siguro ang tagal bago na i-file yung kaso, no?
The Commission on Elections clarified they will not pay the Impact Hub Manila's 15.3 billion pesos claim over the canceled Pilipinas Debate 2022 in last year's national and local elections. Dante Amento tells us why.
Commission on Elections or COMELEC Chairman George Erwin Garcia clarified that Impact Hub Manila, the organizer of the Pilipinas Debate 2022 in last year's national and local elections, failed to provide documentary requirements necessary to establish their claim of 15.3 million pesos. Hence, the poll body denied the Impact Hub's demand to pay.
Sino naman ang nasa tamang katinuan sa isang pamahalaan na magbabayad kung wala namang mga nakadokumentong hinahanap mismo ng mga umiiral nating patakaran?
Garcia stressed they cannot disburse public funds that would violate auditing and accounting requirements required by law.
Maliwanag po, pera, pondo ng sambayanan yan. Obligasyon namin, pinanumpaan namin na hindi basta gagastusin ng pera ng bayan sa walang kapararakan o kung wala namang basihan sa batas man o sa ating mga patakaran.
Garcia added that they have concluded the investigation over the anomalous contract entered into by Impact Hub and COMELEC last 2022. 5 to 6 individuals may be charged or will face criminal, administrative, and civil liabilities. These include former and incumbent COMELEC officials.
Merong former, merong incumbent, merong private, merong public. So lahat ng yan ay dapat kasi kung meron tayong ihihiwalay o meron tayong hindi isasama, samantalang dapat kasama, hindi na po makatotohanan yung report natin na yan.
Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And for our news abroad, Health professionals in Australia warn its citizens that the country is approaching a fifth wave of COVID-19, providing data on how quickly the number of COVID cases are rising and what actions to consider in mitigating health risks. Ia De Vera will give us the details live. Good evening, Ia.
Good evening, Marvi. Australia has seen an increase of coronavirus cases in the country for the past 3 consecutive weeks, with epidemiologists concluding another COVID-19 wave due to surge in numbers. Based on data gathered from May 16th, COVID cases in Australia is now reported an average of 19.7% per day. And aside from Northern Territory, each state and territory has an increase of average daily cases. Tasmania, for example, has a change of average cases from last week to 44.4%, South Australia with 33.1%, and Victoria with 26.5%. Professor Robert Bowie from the University of Sydney Clinical School Children's Hospital at Westmead, however, is expecting the virus is losing its capability to mutate and evade our immune system. He added that the virus will slightly be different but will not likely cause extensive outbreaks. Moreover, Professor Bowie mentioned that if Australians get infected, then it will only be mild to moderate, since majority of the citizens have immunity from the vaccines and previous diseases, but still depends on age and where people live. During the fourth wave in Australia, the Department of Health said it was the longest COVID wave in the country that lasts for almost 5 months. However, with lower hospital admissions and death counts. Deputy Chief Medical Officer Paul Kelly said this is the result of high-level vaccination coverage and oral antiviral treatments for those who need it. He also mentioned that considering what happened during the fourth wave, it really is important the country focuses on suitable health responses and health improvements, especially those who has higher chance of health risks. Back to you, Marvi.
Thank you, Ia De Vera, reporting live from New Zealand. Facebook and Instagram owner Meta has been hit with the largest fine of $1.3 billion imposed by the European Data Protection Board. Nerissa Dando details the why live. Nerissa?
Good evening, Marvi. Meta was fined 1.2 billion euros or 1.3 billion US dollars for continuing the transfer of Europe's user data to the United States, violating the EU-US Data Transfer Pact. Ireland's data regulator that oversees Meta operations in the EU alleged that Meta infringed the Alliance's General Data Protection Regulation under the 2020 EU court ruling. This is the third time in a year that the multinational company was fined. They were given 5 months to stop the data transfer to the United States. Meanwhile, Meta was disappointed with the ruling, saying that it was flawed and unjustified. Meta president and its chief legal officers stated in a blog and other organizations rely on it to operate and provide services. The Irish Data Protection Commission wanted to force Meta to suspend the data transfer initially. The European Data Protection Board, however, ordered to collect an administrative fine of $1.3 billion US dollars, the largest fine imposed by EDPB, topping the $806 million US dollars fine imposed on Amazon in 2021 for breaching the bloc's data protection laws. Meta intends to appeal both the ruling and the fine. Back to you, Marvi.
Thank you, Nerissa Dando, for that live report. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, Harleen.
Thank you, Marvi. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. The food stamp program, which aims to address starvation in the country, will be implemented by the Department of Social Welfare and Development this July in pilot areas. Meanwhile, some individuals are appealing to the agency to be selected as recipients as they are short of money. Bernadette Tinoy will tell us why.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, announced that they will launch the food stamp program this July in pilot areas. According to DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian, this program aims to address the high number of cases of starvation in the country. He added that 3,000 families will be selected for the pilot run in July, and over 300,000 families will be selected for the actual run next year.
May and June, we will work with designing it. Now, July to December will be the pilot run for those regions that we've identified. So hopefully, next year, we get to do the run, the actual run. Early part, first quarter of next year.
Pilot sites will be selected in areas such as the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM, geographically isolated regions and provinces, and urban poor communities. The agency stated that 1 million Filipino families will benefit from the full-scale implementation of the program.
So we've already identified the 1 million food poor families. These are families that do not make beyond 8,000 pesos according to the PSA.
Meanwhile, some residents are appealing to the agency to be chosen as beneficiaries as they're experiencing financial constraints and find it difficult to budget for buying food for their families.
Kung walang tanggap, wala eh. Talagang mahirap ngayon.
Pwede na po kumain ng tuyo or itlog. Makaraos lang po maghapon, ma'am.
Kung magbigay sila, salamat talaga pag para madagdagan yung puhunan at saka yung panggastos namin araw-araw.
Bernadette Tinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Land Transportation Office, or LTO, sets lower price cap on medical certificate fee, which is part of the requirements to obtain driver's license. JP Nunez will tell us why.
Due to complaints from driver's license applicants regarding the high cost of medical examination fees, the Land Transportation Office, or LTO, has released a new memorandum circular that sets a cap on the fees charged by medical clinics or facilities. According to the LTO, the new maximum prescribed medical examination fee will be 300 pesos. This is lower than the average fee charged by medical institutions, which ranges from 500 pesos to 600 pesos. LTO Chief Assistant Secretary J.R. Tugade stated that the current price is already burdensome for ordinary citizens. Lowering the fee for the medical certificate is believed to help those who need a driver's license for their livelihood.
I would say malaking tulong yon sa mga mamamayang Pilipino. 50% yung nakat eh. From 600 kasi yung binayad nyo, di ba? So kung kayang gawing 300, malaking tipid siya.
I think yes po. Kasi po kung 500 to 300, sobrang laki, 200 din po yung nabawas. Marami ka na rin pong pwedeng mabili sa 200.
However, from the perspective of medical institutions, setting the price cap at 300 pesos would mean a loss of income for them. Their profits would only cover their operational expenses.
Hindi kakayanin ng mga business yun eh. Lalo na ngayon, kumukonti yung clients. Kung nagre-range ka lang ng 20 below, araw-araw, hindi kakayanin ng mga clinics yun.
Renzo Pagadora, an LTO accredited clinic supervisor in Quezon City, mentioned that the 500 peso fee is already reasonable as applicants benefit from the medical certificate for a longer period of time once they obtain their driver's license.
Sa tingin ko hindi siya masyadong mahal yung 500 kasi magagamit mo naman siya ng 5 years para sa mga new licensees. Kung kukuha ka naman ng student permit, magagamit mo naman yung medical mo hanggang sa pag-apply mo ng non-pro. Then kapag renewal ka naman na wala kang violation, yung 500 pesos mo, magagamit mo siya in 10 years.
The new policy will take effect after its general circulation in national newspapers or when a certified copy of the policy is forwarded to the Office of the National Registry. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Manila Central Post Office has been relocated to the Surface Mail Exchange Department in Dalpan, Manila. Today, postmen have started sorting letters, and tomorrow they are expected to resume their normal operations. The operation and business mail services corporate operations have been transferred to the Central Mail Exchange in Pasay. The corporate office was temporarily set up next to the burned building, and they had arranged a tent while making preparations for the move.
They just transferred this morning, and I suppose the letter carriers are there. We're waiting for the new mails that will be coming from CMEC. It's operational as I talk right now. Wala lang pang mails that are coming from the Central Mail Exchange. It's coming in.
Recently, the Department of Health, or DOH, announced the upcoming delivery of bivalent vaccines in the country. The agency expects around 390,000 doses to arrive this week. However, the DOH Bureau of International Health Cooperation, or BIHC, previously stated that there would be a slight delay in the arrival of the bivalent vaccines due to the need for coordinated permits. The DOH assures the public that they are exerting efforts to receive the vaccines by the end of the month. Meanwhile, the department memorandum for the rollout of the bivalent vaccine has already been signed and is awaiting release. The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee has finally commenced its investigation on the controversial sugar importation ahead of a formal sugar order. A senior official says it was the president himself who ordered the importation through selected importers. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
Agriculture Senior Undersecretary and now Sugar Regulatory Administration, or SRA, Officer in Charge Domingo Panganiban told senators that it was President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. himself who ordered to import sugar early this year. This as the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee began its hearing on the so-called Sugar Fiasco 2.0 on the controversial sugar importation ahead of the Sugar Order Number 6 issued by the SRA in February. Panganiban says the President green-lighted the importation through selected importers in a bid to address the rising retail prices of sugar.
Ang sabi ng Presidente, let's do it ourselves muna. So, 2 days after, he called again a meeting with me and several sugar importers. And he told the same thing and told the public, told us that we need really to import.
Sinabi ni Presidente, let's do it ourselves. Tama po ba ito?
Hindi sinabi.
That's what I heard you say, Mr. Secretary.
No, hindi sinabi ng Presidente let's do it
Ano yung
ourselves.
sinabi ni Presidente po?
Sinabi niya, let's import.
Let's import. All right. Salamat, Mr. Chair.
So that's it.
Mr. Chairman. Say, let's import, it would have to be done through the process.
No, he said let's import through selected importers of sugar.
Yusek Panganiban, sa'yo po nang galing yan that the President told you, let's do it ourselves. Did this happen or not happen? Kasi nagbago kwento mo immediately after eh.
I think I said it that way.
The agriculture official admits he was the one who chose the 3 importers, namely All Asian Countertrade, Sukden Philippines, and Edison Lee Marketing Incorporated, saying that they were the most capable out of the accredited importers of the SRA. However, Senate Deputy Minority Leader Risa Hontiveros is not convinced.
May hundreds of thousands of dollars in capital deficiency ang Sukden. At may tens of thousands of dollars na capital deficiency rin, resulting in continuing losses.
It is not correct. That was a year, I think it was 2021,
There was a program that time that required us to buy sugar to be exported to the U.S., very expensive local sugar, which resulted to a bad performance.
Basically, we have this situation na yung tatlong kumpanya, led by All Asian, control the country's supply of sugar. Kaya bakit tayo nagugulat na hindi bumababa yung presyo ng asukal?
We bought 5 to 6 billion bags. That's only about 12% of the domestic market.
When asked by the senator if a sugar order is needed to allow importation, Panganiban answered that it is necessary in all instances. However, he also noted that there is no specific law or regulation outlining the procedures for the issuance of sugar import orders. But Hontivero cited an executive order creating the SRA, reiterating its mandate to balance the interests of sugar industry stakeholders. The senator added that the issuance of a sugar order as a requirement before importing has been the practice of the SRA. But for Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, issuance of a sugar order is not necessary prior to sugar importation. He also maintains that the importation was legitimate, denying the allegation of enabling government-sponsored smuggling.
To us in the Office of the President, we have committed no irregularity, no violation when we issued that sugar order. Neither was there any violation committed by any of the parties who were involved in these question transactions.
The little president adds though there was guidance from President Marcos Jr., he was the one who instructed Panganiban to proceed with the importation.
I take the responsibility for any kind of haste that might have attended this, and if their Secretary Panganiban made the choices, I could ratify those choices because I was acting in the interest of the President and this administration.
The Senate panel is expected to call for another hearing. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa could not help but kneel in front of police officers as the Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs continues its investigation on the controversial raid of 6.7 billion peso worth of shabu in Manila last year. This as the senator appealed to several members of the Philippine National Police to reveal the truth behind the illegal drug trade.
Ako, luluhod ako ngayon. Oh, please. Sige. Magsalita na kayo. Maawa kayo sa Pilipinas. Kung magluhod ako sa harapan ninyo, magsabi na kayo ng totoo. Hindi ito power tripping, ha? Nagpakukumbaba na ako para ilabas yung katotohanan. Alang-alang sa mga anak ninyo.
Several police officers were detained at the Senate after they were cited in contempt. These include dismissed Police Master Sergeant Rodolfo Mayo Jr., who was tagged as the owner of the office where the almost 1 ton of shabu was confiscated. Police Lieutenant Colonel Arnulfo Ibanez, who was the superior of Mayo, was also cited in contempt.
Africa's richest man launches the biggest oil refinery in Nigeria with hopes of addressing chronic fuel shortages. Annie Mancilia will give us the details live. Good evening, Annie.
Good evening, Marvy. The Dangote Refinery in Lagos, Nigeria, which took nearly 7 years to build, was inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday, May 22. The 19 billion refinery, said to be the world's largest single-train refinery, is intended by Dangote Group's President Aliko Dangote to tackle the persistent shortage of fuel in Nigeria. At the inauguration on Monday, Mr. Dangote said that their first goal is to ramp up the production of various products to the plant and fully satisfy the nation's demand within this year. While the plant is not operational yet, it would have the capacity to produce up to 650,000 barrels of petroleum products per day. A power station, deep seaport, and fertilizer plant are also featured in the Dangote Group refinery. Analysts say that Africa's biggest refinery could end the country's petrol deficit and meet the constant supply demands of crude. Back to you, Marvy.
Thank you, Annie Mancilia, reporting live from Singapore. TikTok has filed a lawsuit against Montana as it becomes the first U.S. state to ban the Chinese app. Montana Governor Greg Gianfortis signed the new legislation last Wednesday, May 17, which he says is an effort to protect Montana's personal and private data from being harvested by the Chinese Communist Party. Starting January 1, 2024, it will be unlawful for TikTok to operate in the state and for Google and Apple to offer TikTok in their app stores within Montana. The ByteDance-owned company argues that the ban violates the First Amendment rights of the company and the more than 200,000 users in Montana. While a group of TikTok creators posted under the hashtag Montana Loves TikTok, denouncing the ban a day after the bill was signed. Social media influencers also say that their income relies on the app's existence and that the state government had larger issues to tackle than TikTok, such as the problematic infrastructure and the massive flooding. As bans against TikTok ramp up, ByteDance has started to push Lemon 8, its newer photo and video sharing app, which could be an option for Montana users to move their content to. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Marvi Delfin, live from Australia. Good evening.
The Maltese's first ever live concert in Manila was jam-packed with fans in Taguig City last Monday. Gladys Tuabi will tell us why.
Fans willed Maltese's first Asian live concert in Taguig City on Monday, May 22. According to those who watched, the artist's performance of songs like Good Morning, Crystal, and Mother was very inspiring and heartwarming.
His songs have been very consistent. It's very heartwarming. It's amazing. So it makes me feel like I'm floating, something like that.
Maltese expressed his gratitude for the positive feedback from his fans and is looking forward to another Asian concert tour here in the Philippines.
They were lovely. Yeah, I have met a lot of them. Yeah, it was just a lovely show. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. See you again someday soon. Yeah.
The concert also included a front act performance by Filipino-Canadian singer-songwriter Andrea. According to Andrea, the songs she performed last night were original compositions with elements that resonate with most Filipinos.
So lots of original songs. A lot of my songs are kind of slow, quite sad, but hopefully, the Filipinos like it. I'm Filipino myself, so every time I've sung it to, my mom, my songs to my mom, my friends, they all feel very is the word kilig, good inside? Is that the word? So all my, when people hear my songs, they feel quite wholesome and nice, so hopefully the audience feel the same way too.
Meanwhile, Francis Hosking, the business development manager of Asia Midas Promotions, stated that Maltese's Manila live concert was a resounding success, and they are excited about future projects in collaboration with KDR Music House.
Job well done, I'd like to say, for the team, KDR, Midas. I think we smashed it today. With the help of KDR, it's our first time, and it's definitely not going to be our last. They helped us with almost everything, and we'll definitely keep using them in the future for sure.
Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our Kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God. From the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 1, verse 8, it says, "But we know that the law is good, if a man use it lawfully." And those are the reasons behind the news, May 23, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am Harleen Delgado.
And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Posibleng itong bagyo nga ang mag-trigger ng mga pag-ulan sa kanlurang bahagi ng ating bansa. And kung ma-meet nga yung criteria natin na 5 days sa dire-diretso pag-ulan sa ating mga stasyon sa western section, isang sign ito or isang possibility na or hudyat na mag-start na tayo ng rainy season.
So what we've done is we've augmented the stockpiling of food packs up north. Right now, ang average kasi nila will be at around 30 to 50,000 in those two regions independently of each other. Naka-preposition na yon. But we're doubling it up.
Yung pagre-recant na to also affects yung credibility ng mga tao. Hindi kasi pwedeng pabago-bago yung sasabihin mo sa unang kwento mo, ganito nangyari, pagkatapos babuwiin mo sa oras na ikaw ay magkaroon na ng abogado.
Talagang may pananakot, panunuhol, may subornation of perjury, may witness tampering dito sa kasong ito para ituro si Congressman Teves. Kaya siguro ang tagal bago na i-file yung kaso, ano?
Ang sabi ng Presidente, let's do it ourselves muna. So, 2 days after, he called again a meeting with me and several sugar importers, and he told the same thing, and told the public, told us that we need really to import.
Yusek Panganiban, sa'yo po nang galing yan that the President told you, let's do it ourselves. Did this happen or not happen? Kasi nagbago kwento mo immediately after eh.
I think I said it that way.
I would say malaking tulong ngayon sa mga mamamayang Pilipino. 50% yung nakat eh. From 600 kasi yung binayad ko, di ba? So kung kayang gawing 300, malaking tipid siya.
Hindi kakayanin ng mga business yun eh. Lalo na ngayon, kumukonti yung clients. Kung nagre-range ka lang ng 20 below, araw-araw, hindi kakayanin ng mga clinics yun.
Ako, luluhod ako ngayon. Oh, please! Sige, magsalita na kayo. Maawa kayo sa Pilipinas. Kung magluhod ako sa harapan ninyo, magsabi na kayo ng totoo. Hindi ito power tripping, ha? Nagpakukumbaba na ako para ilabas yung katotohanan. Alang-alang sa mga anak ninyo.